Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Patty XRP here with my partner in crime.
Mickey Bifrost.
Nice. So how are we doing today, Mickey?
We're doing good. I am on the call in today from the outside, so if there's a little wind or a little noise, don't mind. Patty's gonna be running a show today, but I am here and I'm looking forward to it.
Nice, nice. Love it. So I know we got a good amount of things to talk today. So we'll be getting into kind of some SEC versus Ripple case updates. We can touch on the new Flare partnership, Panther Protocol. That looks like a really exciting one. And then, if anybody has any remaining questions around the Spark claim and the Flare wallet options, we can touch on that as well. Plus, I just kind of remembered that Flare Finance had been putting out some polls on Twitter as far as listing tokens on the Flare X platform at launch and bringing those over via Flare Wrap. So we can probably go through those and see how the poll's going as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, that was very interesting with the meme coins that they put out the poll with. I mean, I know it's a little of a joke, but they're just trying to get an idea. And we do have to remember this is all these voting things online are just pre-governance. They're just kind of getting the community prepared for when you are part of the network and you are a voting member. When you hold YFlare or you hold YFin or you hold Spark, you're actually going to be a governor of the network. And that's part of that decentralization process. Just because something's decentralized doesn't mean it doesn't have governance. You can have governance with decentralization.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can honestly, we can start off with looking at them. I'll kind of list them out for you, Mickey, because I know you're on the phone. I'm kind of, I'm excited about some of the options that are out there. I was kind of hoping that there wouldn't be any meme coins, but, maybe some of them will actually have legitimacy going forward. I know we kind of just went through a bonanza, but let's get those pulled up. So, let's see. We have one that's basically for Binance Smart Chain, and it looks like BNB is in the lead, so the Binance coin. I think that makes the most sense. I'm glad people are voting for that. It's got, the highest volume and market cap out of all those coins on Binance Smart Chain. So that's something I think is cool to see brought over and kind of bridge the gap between Flare and the Binance Smart Chain. Any thoughts there, Mickey? I know some of the other options are cake, bake, and bunny. So I don't even know two of those. I do know the cake one though.
Well, BNB, it's BNB itself.
Yeah.
Well, BNB itself, I think, is a great option because it already runs on Ethereum. Like it's an ERC20 token to begin with. Then it's got its own little like Binance chain. And now adding it to another one, it's already on multiple chains. So I could see BNB as being an ideal option. And I don't think there's that too much crossover between the XRP community and BNB. But that would be the ideal one over like Cake or the other ones. I mean, they've yet to really show true sustainability in the ecosystem yet.
Yeah. And I would
That's my opinion.
Yeah, I would add with BNB. I honestly like how quickly that token has grown was rather shocking to me. I always thought like Binance is, one of the leading exchanges, so like, there'll be some value with that coin. But it just goes to show you that alternatives to Ethereum, a lot of them have been doing really well in this bull market we've been having. You can think of Cardano, Avalanche, Solana took off when that launched. So I think people are out there looking for more options, which we'll see how that bodes when we get to the Flare launch and the Spark token. And as this ecosystem starts to grow, like what kind of value are people going to put on that, especially with
Absolutely.
the low gas fees and fast transactions.
There was one other thing I wanted to bring up since we're talking about things like this. The Flare redid their website, so I think everyone should check out flare.xyz. And on there, one thing I did notice that was very interesting was under the price feeds that the signal providers would provide, besides all the given ones where you have, all the F assets, Litecoin, XLM, Doge, XRP, and Spark, they added three others. that I thought were very interesting, which are Algo USD, um, Bitcoin Cash USD, and ADA USD. So I just found that interesting that the signal providers are going to have to provide those price feeds as well as the F asset ones. And each round, it's kind of random depending on which one is picked uh, in the FTSO voting.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of always thought that Bitcoin Cash would be kind of a prime candidate to be brought over as an F asset. It's been a rather popular fork of Bitcoin. So, and it's not as big as Bitcoin. So it seems like something a little easier to absorb in the beginning. So I'm kind of curious if we'll see a proposal for that, not too long after launch, a couple of months. And kind of that whole system of, proposing assets to be F assets. Well, like our governance is going to be live after the launch. I'm curious, what the community, if they're going to be wanting to bring on new F assets, even though the F asset system's not going to be going live for, possibly a month or two. Because, that's going to take away from people that hold these other assets their ability to earn Spark on a daily basis, just like a larger share. So it's like, do people want to spread that wealth more in the beginning or kind of wait a couple months and see how the system's going and then add more F assets? So I don't know if you have thoughts on which way you think that'll go, but I find that very interesting question to ponder right now.
Yeah, one thing I think that is not known yet, and I think will play a big role here, is the Flare Foundation, which will kind of set the kind of parameters for how often we vote on F assets and when there are proposals for new ones. I think in the beginning, with these are four top 15 cryptos. There's hundreds of billions of dollars in value in just these four. I think that's more than enough personally. That's my opinion to get going in the first few months. After 6 months is when there's going to be a vote for the inflation mechanism.
Hmm.
And with that might come a vote for additional assets. I feel like 6 months might be the window after going live when we'll make decisions on other things like that.
Yeah.
But we do need a guide. Like that's where the foundation is supposed to come in.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm curious, if we'll have other like stakeholders in the crypto community that, are highly intelligent that are going to be involved with Flare and if they're going to be putting out proposals and things like that. It's like, you may just be, just like your average Joe out there, and you're like, oh, well, I think this thing could do well for the Flare network, but you don't necessarily know how to make a proposal and one that makes sense and all that. So, like, you could go and outsource and find somebody that, has a lot more experience with finance or whatever it is in crypto in general and see if they can help you put a proposal together or get some kind of coalition going to bring on a new F asset. So, I think the possibilities are pretty endless here. But I would agree. I think we should not be rushing to add F assets from the beginning from a selfish reason in the fact that, I want to maximize the rewards in the first couple of months coming from those F asset pools, but also just to kind of, make sure the system's functioning all well with, everything that's being brought on in the beginning and see how that starts to scale and then make decisions on that. Yeah, it definitely just like there I feel like there's no reason to rush anything at this point. So it'll be interesting to see how the community takes that. But I'll flip back over here. So they asked for some Ethereum assets as well, and it was Uniswap, Aave. I think is CEL Celsius. Does that sound right?
Yeah,
And yeah,
CEL is Celsius. Now remember, let everyone know this is Flare Finance, not
yeah,
Flare.
Flare
So everyone
Finance to
knows this is
list.
Flare
Yeah.
Finance. Yes.
And this will be on the Flare X decentralized exchange. So that means it'll be able to trade against assets like, FXRP or YFlare or FDoge and things like that. And then the other option here was Compound. It looks like Celsius is probably going to win. They have a pretty hefty advantage at this point, 12 hour or 13 hours in. Um, I'm curious if so Celsius is basically the token for like that whole CeFi
Hmm.
program, right?
Yes. So there does look like there is some kind of tie in between Celsius and Flare Finance. I mean, they do seem like ideal partners. Like if Celsius is looking to get more into the decentralized finance world, this would be an ideal way to do it for them instead of getting wrapped up in that whole Ethereum Wild West mess, especially if they want to do it in a regulated way. Integrating with Flare Finance, which is going to have KYC AML. Even if it is the bare minimum, it's still going to have KYC AML, which means it will cover the Bank Secrecy Acts. And I think Celsius would be likely to integrate with that. And we do have a lot of overlap in the XRP community with Celsius. Chip and Jeff from On the Chain Live have interviewed Alex Muskinsky multiple times. Um, Crypto Siege has interviewed them. So there is a lot of people who use Celsius. It's unfortunate that in New York here, we can't use that for XRP,
Yeah.
like most everything else. It's just overregulated. But yeah, I do think that's a good in. Like, we need to see this integration between CeFi and DeFi
Yeah.
to really get like the flywheel spinning of these network effects, because you can't just have them isolated from each other. And when we say CeFi, that means like Nexo and Celsius, but it also means the exchanges too. So like your Bittrews, your Uphold, they're CeFi. So integrating them with Flare Finance, and they're going to be partners, are going to be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And, kind of piggybacking off that, we kind of always thought that some of these perfect like enterprise level stakeholders to get involved with like the FTSO and the F asset system would be these CFI firms as they kind of bridge the gap between traditional finance and decentralized finance. And, they have lots of capital and they offer ways that you can earn passive income without, having to actually delve into all the DeFi stuff. So that's like them giving you a fixed yield, and then they take the rate on top they make over that. So yeah, I think I voted for Uniswap, but honestly, Celsius seems like a pretty good call. It would be great if they became a participant in the Flare network. So maybe getting their token on there, it could be a foot in the door. And then additionally, so we had I don't know what Tell is, but also Maker, Urine Finance, and the Nexo token. Looks like this Tell one is really gotten a ton of votes. I don't. Are you familiar with it at all, Mickey? I may have to hop over and
No,
see.
I
Yeah.
mean, no, no, I'm familiar with all the other ones
I
except
was
that one.
hoping Maker was going to be the one for sure. Just because like we have the MakerDAO stablecoin that's been created, and that would kind of go in with like Trustline and how they're setting up their token over there for Ore. And then additionally, there were some meme coins, which was like let's see, Shiba Inu, SafeMoon, Akita, Sandshoe. It looks like the Shiba Inu coin's going to be on, and then yeah, I'm gonna avoid the last group. But it's like Elon coin and stuff. So I mean, that's kind of I'm not extremely excited about meme coins coming on. I don't I think we're kind of just in a
We have
bonanza with
one big
some of
one.
that stuff.
That's what we
So
need. We got
yeah.
one big one. That's all you need.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you got Doge and the granddaddy of them who, there's actually like institutional interest in it as far as like, or let's not say institutional, but like private business interests, because you got like Mark Cuban, Elon Musk, and people like that that want to use it for like payments for their products and stuff. So, I think that makes sense. Some of these other ones, it's just like,
Yeah.
it's the market
Doge
going
is
crazy.
mhm. Doge is number 3 in payments in BitPay. So, people should not be. I'm going to say this once again, and I'm going to keep saying this in the community. There are noticeable influencers that continue to bash Doge, and they need to stop, because it's going to be an F asset on the Flare network. What you like, what you think about it, what you don't think about it, it's being used in payments, and it's number 3 on BitPay, and it's being used by the Oakland A's, the Dallas Mavericks, to accept as payments. So people are using the asset. So, and it's going to be part of the community on Flare. So we need to come together as community and stop bashing it. All right. So that's just one thing I'm going to say, just to our whole community as XRP. Stop with the bashing of Doge, okay? Because we're all going to be one on Flare. I just want to see that stopped. There's one
Yeah.
particular person that keeps doing it, and it's very annoying to me. I'm sorry. It's
Yeah,
just annoying.
I know.
It
Just
needs to
last
stop.
week.
It's because they just don't do research and they just blab on their YouTube channel.
Yeah, and so Hugo made a very pointed statement. He was asked why they brought over Doge when he did the Twitter Spaces interview with them a few weeks ago, and he said it was because the community. The community is rather open. It's very passionate and easier to work with, and sometimes like the XRP community, we, have our downfalls in certain areas, but we're also very passionate as well. And I think like a lot of us have been pretty welcoming of Flare, which is exciting. So kind of bridging that gap for the Dogecoin people that are newer, it doesn't mean they can't learn. It's just they're a little, farther behind the eight ball on that. So just got
That's
to
a good
take all
point.
that into account.
Good point. They
But
are, yes. Think of them as like newbies. And, we're experienced. We've been here a while, but that doesn't mean they can't learn. Everyone levels up their knowledge here. And that's the whole goal of crypto is you have to continuously level up and level up, to keep making money. And that's important. And the game's going to keep changing. Like DeFi now, in a year from now, is going to be very different. And you're going to have to level up your knowledge then to maximize it at that time. And it's going to be different than what it is right now.
yeah, exactly. And so there is a super chat from Ripple Effect, and he asked a question that I'll address quickly. So he said, won't Flare make F assets equal? Isn't Flare and Stellar a fork of Ripple? So start with the bottom one. They call it a utility fork, but it's not the same as a traditional fork in which they're forking off the underlying code of the XRP ledger. What they're doing is they're bootstrapping the Flare network with the XRP community and holders. And in that sense, it's going to bring additional utility back to the XRP ledger with the special like state connector bridge they have going on that allows you to do like what the Trustline project is doing. You can collateralize the Ore stablecoin on the Flare network, and then it can be issued trustlessly with the counterparty as the Flare like network protocol. So that's a decentralized protocol as the counterparty. So it's very trustless in moving over to the XRP ledger as like an issued currency. And then yeah, so Flare network will make all F assets equal. And so when you basically what makes these assets have certain traits is the underlying network. So, XRP ledger, XRP can move quickly and cheaply because of the XRP ledger, not because of some specific property about the XRP token. It's all about the underlying infrastructure, and the same is going to be, hold true on the Flare network when you bring over F Doge or FXRP or F Litecoin. So, that's it's important to note. The only difference is that the price of those assets is pegged to the native asset. So some of them will appreciate or depreciate at greater rates than the others, and that's kind of like as far as getting a little, extra added in the like the F asset you're holding. That's decisions you'll have to make. I don't know. You have anything to add to that, Mickey?
Yeah, I do have to add. So one thing that is, it's not a fork in any way of a traditional fork. There's no forking of the code or anything like that. There's some borrowing. One thing that is unique with the XRP ledger and Flare is that there's a two-way bridge. So with every other network that's an F asset, there's a one-way bridge. You can issue and you can redeem. But with the XRP ledger, you could actually bring these other F assets over to the ledger. So Flare network could act as a trustless gateway, like Patty was describing, and issue assets onto the XRP ledger. So this adds a new level of tokenization where a smart contract can issue them from Flare to the XRP ledger in a trustless gateway instead of a counterpart. Because if you issued Bitcoin on the XRP ledger right now, an actual centralized entity would have to issue that, and you would have to trust them. With Flare, you could do it as a smart contract, issues it, and now it's trustless. And that's what they're doing with RA. And the XRP ledger is not done yet. They're also going to be building these side chains, which they're going to call federated side chains, which they're going to have their own DApp ecosystems. I don't foresee Doge, Litecoin, Bitcoin, and some of those other networks expanding in that way. Sorry about the noise. I just think that the XRP ledger is still going to be utilized the most out of all the F assets, and that will still give XRP, like Patty said, the value is in the protocol. So the protocol, which is the network, will give it its value, and XRP will appreciate at a higher rate than, say, Litecoin, for example, if its protocol is being used. But when the asset itself is on Flare, they're all equal. It's a level playing field. Doge and FXRP, same exact asset. when they're on Flare. They
Yeah.
come with yield and they come with Ethereum smart contracts.
No, yeah, those are great points. And yeah, I think the XRP ledger, like with the built-in order book decks, is just, it kind of works synergistically really well with what Flare's doing as it's bringing a ton of different assets value on there. And then having an option to trade via AMM on the Flare Finance decks or, issue those currencies onto the XRP ledger and utilize an order book decks gives you options and, it's going to add added utility to both sides of the aisle. So that's kind of the gist of the utility fork. Just think of it as it's bringing like synergies between the two blockchains since they're using the XRP holders, and that's from the Spark airdrop. That's what they're doing to Bootstrap.
Yeah, that's
So
called a
yeah,
fair distribution,
yeah,
is what it means. So we have no whales. The hardest things to do with networks to get them started is to distribute the token and to decentralize the consensus. Flare is able to do this out the gate by bootstrapping off a community like XRP. They're able to distribute out to this community that already has a bunch of tokens called XRP. Now you give them Spark, it does a fair distribution. Now add in that it's going to be decentralized by bootstrapping off the other networks.
yeah. And so I see a comment here. So Flare Collector says, I really hope we are not going to vote many proof of work coins in for Flare Network in the future. And, I would differ in that. I think they're prime candidates because obviously they have a lot of energy usage. And with the style of the consensus for the Flare Network, it'll allow those that like value that's on these proof of work networks to, get more bang for their buck. So it's like, for the same energy expenditure that's happening on, let's say, Bitcoin, for example, you could get more use of your value by it being able to use it in DeFi in a trustless manner than you would have before. And it's like proof of work coins, they're not just going to like magically disappear, in my opinion. They're going to stick around. There's very passionate people. All you had to do was watch some of those videos from the Bitcoin conference the other day. And, allowing them to use it on Flare Network is a good option. They'll be able to trade across it, and ultimately, it's going to bring more value to the Flare Network. And as we kind of bring on more value and more people are interested in using it, it's going to help with the robustness, like the liquidity on the network. So I don't think just because it's proof of work, we should be ruling them out.
Yeah, I agree. The value's there and it's not going anywhere anytime soon. On the other hand, though, I'll play devil's advocate. They do need to change with their energy consumption and the
Yeah.
green energy thing. They're going to get slammed with this administration and with the whole green agenda thing. If they don't move, they're getting taxed. And with everything going carbon neutral, Larson's foundation invested over 50 million into these carbon neutral things. So you might see a marketplace develop for, carbon credits, renewable energy credits. Like that's the new world we're moving into, where new marketplaces will develop out of this ecosystem. It's a little farther out, but that's just like where to look.
Nice. Yeah. And so we had a couple super chats come through, one with a good question from our buddy Ben Pianka from the Patreon group. And he was saying, will bringing other smart contract assets value onto the XRP ledger increase or dilute the XRP price? You want to kind of handle that? So, I think he's saying
Mhm,
bringing added volume over and issuing currencies and all that good stuff.
mhm. Well, I can't see how it could hurt the price in any way. All I could see it doing is adding more liquidity. So it would increase the liquidity and the utility of the XRP ledger. And if we believe that value is in the protocol, then it's going to add more value and more use cases. So I can't see how it could hurt it in any way, and only do good things. Exactly what those good things are, it depends how it's brought over and traded. Um, Ripple keeps talking about tokenization and they keep talking about insurance and identity. Those are the three things that I keep hearing them talk about besides payments. So I would expect those three to come over. They might not happen through Flare. They might happen through their side chains or whatnot. But was he talking about like bringing over other F assets? He means.
I think Ben just means like, yeah, bringing over other like assets that are created via smart contracts on
Mm,
Flare and their value, which I mean, I think it's only going to
Yeah.
be positive for the XRP ledger. If you have more value running over it, then naturally there's going to be more people that are buying XRP to get onto the network and trade between assets. So
Hmm.
you can kind of think about the old Shane Ellis theory, and it's like, okay, well, if you buy all this up, on an exchange, it shoots the price up. Now, I'm not saying in that way. I'm just saying like a gradual rise as more values going across the ledger, you're going to have more people buying and higher demand for use on it. And like, the main on off ramp for the XRP ledger is the XRP token. So I think it would only be beneficial. And additionally, through stuff like the Ori stablecoin being issued
Exactly.
trustlessly, that's going to add a unit of account to the XRP ledger to trade against. And it's not going to be like, an issued stable coin from Bitstamp or something like that. The counterparty, like where we were saying earlier, is the Flare network, which is very powerful, and I think that's going to make it more whatever the word, probably easy to trade on that DEX if
Yeah.
you can you move into a decentralized stable coin at any point. So it just gives you
Especially
like
if
an added
it's,
layer.
mhm, and everyone knows that most of it's going to be backed, the value backing that RA, it's probably going to be mostly FXRP. So you're using XRP's value to create this new stable coin. It's decentralized and that trades back on the XRP ledger. So you're kind of getting a win-win with XRP and you're expanding its utility.
Absolutely. And then also Dr. Orlando XRP Hitman Wallace, great name, said, "Love the XRP community. It's been 14 months of investing in this community, and the ROI is great. Thanks, XRP family, for staying together and sharing the knowledge." And yeah, I agree. I'm glad that so many people have been trying to learn about Flare. It's definitely, a tough network to wrap your minds around, but I think that the XRP community is going to be better for it, and we're going to start being integrated with these other communities, and hopefully, end some of that tribalism that's gone on for so long. But that can only happen, if we come together. And what a great way with a new blockchain protocol. Um, so, Mickey, I was thinking from here we can move into the SEC and Ripple news. And what we have here is the SEC has asked for 60 more days in discovery, which I find, really hypocritical of them, because one of their arguments against John Deaton's motion to intervene was that it would add extra time onto discovery. And now here they are asking for more time for discovery, which, it's just a joke to me. I was like, did different people put these out, or did they not confer? Do they just not care? you know, it just seems ridiculous to me.
Yeah, the SEC is a shit show. I guess is the best way to describe them. The way they're doing things. I mean, it is very hypocritical right there. Just that, exactly what you said. And now they're not. And also, the other thing is they don't want to disclose the documents that they're supposed to hand over. So Ripple is trying to get them to compel to release those documents.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I'm gonna pull up the motion to compel letter that was sent to Judge Sarah Netburn, who has been ruling over all the discovery issues in this case. And then we still have Judge Torres, who's like the judge on the actual civil case when we get to that point. So Judge Netburn already has, or twice, had to tell the SEC that they need to provide these internal documents on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP. And, Ripple's basically saying that they have not been giving near close to what they should have gotten by now. They make some statements about this particular website that they have, their FinHub electronic mailbox, and how there should be a lot of documents through that, and the SEC acts like they have it and it's easy to get, but some reason they're not pulling them out of there. So, it's a lot of like lawyerly talk going on here. But also, I just want to point out, on the other hand, that the SEC did have a letter responding to Ripple in which they do state some different instances of them giving information to Ripple in regards to internal conversations with, outside parties such as different exchanges, or like money remittance providers. However, I don't know if that's purely internal. I feel like that's just them trying to say, look, we've done this. But I'm like, all right, what did you guys say to each other about XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, and also just like, how did the conclusion get brought that Hinman and Clayton said Ethereum and Bitcoin are free? So I'm hoping, I think Judge Netburn's been kind of annoyed by the SEC many times throughout this, and I just see this as another annoyance to her. So I'm curious if she's gonna hammer down on them more after this incident.
Yeah, sounds like a stall tactic to me, that they're just trying to stall, and they don't want to disclose certain documents because there could be so many different documents. All basically has to be proven is that XRP was grouped with Bitcoin, Ethereum. In early 2019, this big exchange decided to list XRP right as this investigation was beginning. So, where are the communications from there? And who was in charge of this big exchange? Supposedly, that's now the CEO of Binance US, who had those communications with the SEC. So I just think they're just stalling. It's just basically a stall tactic, and all the walls are basically closing in on the SEC on multiple fronts. Think
Yeah.
about it like this: you got Deaton coming in from one side, you got these disclosures coming in from the other side. And what was the other thing that they got going on now too? It was the third one.
Mm, I'm not sure. I can't remember.
Oh, the motion to basically the fair notice.
Ah,
So the fair
yes, fair
notice is the
notice.
third one, which is the biggest one. If Torres allows the fair notice, it puts such a level of risk to the SEC that even if they win or lose, there's extreme risk to their impact on crypto for the forever. So I don't think all we need is one of those to fall, and pretty much it's going to be the end of the road for the SEC. So uh, Ripple's looking pretty good right now as a community. XRP we're looking pretty good. The walls are closing in on the SEC, so it's the opposite. It's not like the walls are closing in on Ripple, closing in on the SEC right now, and it's just delay, 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 delay. They're only going to piss the judges off. It's only going to get them more mad. And I thought one thing that was interesting with this one, wasn't it the new lawyer from Chicago that wrote the letter to delay?
Yes, yes.
Yes. So that was interesting. And then lawyer number two behind that a-hole, Tonero, left the case. And that's interesting. So why is the number two prosecutor leaving the case in the middle of the case? That's just, you could assume anything, but
Yeah.
whatever it is, it doesn't look good.
Nope, absolutely. I mean, if I was an SEC lawyer, I would be like, this is a crap case to get put on. They're just kind of grasping at straws at this point, and I feel like they're just trying to go all out to see if they'll be able to get anything to stick. If the Ripple keeps winning all their motions and everything, and the SEC is kind of falling flat, I just don't know how long they can keep this going, but we'll have to see. I can't complain too much. What did XRP drop to 17 cents at one point after the lawsuit was filed? And, it's relatively been hanging around a dollar or more for the most part in the last couple of months. So, I thought it was going to be in the gutter the whole time. So, yeah, at least it's not too bad for us.
Yeah,
But
but I do have to play devil's advocate here just for a
mm,
second. The longer this delays, the worse it is for Ripple too,
that's true.
because they have projects they want to release that they are getting held up right now. And even Matt Hamilton said they're ready to release info on these federated sidechains, and certain projects are built around specifically using XRP, and they can't launch those things when it's not just not clarity, when there's a court case accusing XRP of being a digital security, which is absurd to begin with, because even in the Kin settlement, they never said Kin was a digital security. So I think this is more about Ripple's ability to use the escrow. So this isn't about just selling escrow. Ripple's ability to lend XRP is very powerful. Like if you think of CeFi and DeFi, they have the ability to lend the asset.
Yeah, and it takes away a lot of the like volatility risk in cryptos when they do that. So it's very huge for the remittance providers and firms like that they can get these kind of lines of credit. Um, and
Yeah, and
so
then they
yeah,
could
go ahead.
also use the escrow to algorithmically distribute basically the XRP. So you look at how I've done videos on this, but just to remind everybody, the way that Flare uses the general rewards pool basically to reward those who bring over assets, right? That escrow could be used in the same type of manner in just a different way very easily. And nobody needs to pay for that. Ripple doesn't need to profit, but it benefits the network. And I think, the SEC wants to clamp down on any ability to use that escrow, even if it's not selling it, it's just utilizing it. They want to clamp down on it. And Ripple doesn't want any strings attached to it.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I think we can move on. I've been seeing a good amount of questions about the Spark claim and wallets. So I'm going to start off with a question I see here. So Sillin said, I stored my XRP during the snapshot on a ledger and created a message key with Ethereum with the XRP toolkit. Do I have to do anything else? Where will the Spark tokens be dropped? So basically, the Spark tokens are getting pointed to wherever that Ethereum address you used is located. So you can use an Ethereum address on, like, let's say your Ledger Nano as that message key. It will point the airdrop to your Ledger Nano. And then as far as accessing your Spark when the network is live, there's a few things that may happen. Either Ledger Nano, who is considering it right now, may offer Spark application on Ledger Live so that you can actually see and use the Spark tokens. So in that case, if you wanted to move it to a wallet like Bifrost, you could just send it every month out of your wallet when you get your airdrop. Or also, if they aren't providing that functionality through Ledger Live, there's a really easy way to hook up your Ledger Nano to MetaMask. It doesn't require you to give up a recovery seed phrase or anything like that for people who don't want to do it. And you could use the MetaMask client to send that Spark to Bifrost if you want it every month, or maybe some other wallet comes out that you want to use. Also, I believe MetaMask will be offering functionality with the Flare network, so you could do it straight off MetaMask as far as participation. The Bifrost wallet though looks really slick, what they've been showing so far, and they're gonna have a ton of assets. So like, as far as I remember, Mickey, like back in March, we're like, what do we want to see the most? And we're finally now seeing it, is like, what is this Flare wallet that's being worked on gonna look like? And I think I'm pretty impressed and excited about what they've come out with. And it seems like the best option as far as like functionality and ease of access for participating in DeFi on the Flare network. Now, like, if you're just going to be participating in layer one stuff, like maybe FTSO delegation, you won't need it as much. But if you're going to get into Flare Finance and Trustline, I think it'll be extremely helpful, that Bifrost wallet.
Yes, to connect to any of these Web3 dApps, you're going to need the Bifrost wallet or use MetaMask. But I think Bifrost is going to be a step up from MetaMask. But to connect to any of the Web3 dApps, you're definitely going to want to use the Bifrost. Even if Nano Ledger does support it with Ledger Live, that means you got to plug that Nano Ledger into your computer every time you want to do something. And it's a pain in the ass. So I wouldn't, you could if they do support it, but I would plan on, if you want to maximize the utilization of Flare Network, you know, I would use the Bifrost. That's just my opinion. That's what I'm going to do. Everyone is entitled to their choices, but it's best to get the knowledge of everything so you can make the best decision for what you want to do. And you don't have to make this decision tomorrow or even by the 11th. That's just the claim date is June 11th. We don't have to really decide until the network goes live, right, Patty?
Yeah, you don't have to decide what you're going to use. All you're deciding is where that airdrop is being pointed to. So that's what the Ethereum message key is doing, because the Flare network can recognize the Ethereum address since they're built off the same standards as far as like EVM and the ERC standards. The XRP address does not use the same standards as Flare network, so it's not like as compatible in that way. And that's the whole point of having that Ethereum address as the message key. It's pointing where your Spark will go, and it will continue to go there for as long as the airdrop's going on. You won't be able to change it after the 11th. And to add to that, so let's say currently you chose to use a MetaMask wallet that you only have an Ethereum address on there that you use, and that's going to be your message key. even though you can't change that Ethereum address after the fact, you could import that wallet into Bifrost and then access your airdrop every month through Bifrost. So that's where using like a recovery seed phrase, while could be a little easier because you could just import it into Bifrost and access it through there every time. So like, these wallets aren't don't actually hold your assets. They're all located on the blockchain and that's where they're held. They just provide you an interface to either store your private keys or to interact with those tokens on the blockchain. So I think that's important to note. And then as far as exchanges go, so this is a good question. Furniture Guy, my XRP was on Coinbase when the snapshot was taken. Since then, I transferred all XRP to my Ledger Nano. Will there be a problem with the drop for me? No. So, what happened with the snapshot on December 12th at midnight, or I guess whatever, early in the morning, UTC time? Basically, they just took a picture of where all the XRP was on every single address on the XRP ledger, and they have that saved. So they're going to hook that up with Flare Network through the Ethereum message key, and it will just send based on what was there on 12/12. So I've moved all my assets around since that air or that snapshot was taken, and it will have no effect if you move them on your airdrop. It's only what was in a specific account on that date. So hopefully that clears it up. And we're still waiting on a bunch of exchanges as well to reach out and tell people, are they going to be providing Spark addresses on their exchange, so listing it there, or if you're going to have to give them an Ethereum message key for them to direct the Spark to. So
Can I jump in there?
yeah, definitely.
All right. So exactly what Patty said there, but Hugo did say, who's the CEO of Flare, that most of the contracts that they set up and integrations with these exchanges, they agree to also list the Spark token. I don't know if all of them, but out of those 50, I would say a good amount are going to list them. Now, remember, you're not going to get a Flare account with an exchange. The exchange has a Flare account. You're just lumped in with their account. Now, if you have a Bifrost wallet, you get a Flare account then. So remember, if you're going to want to interact with these other dApps and Flare Finance, not all these exchanges are going to allow you to do that. You'll be able to receive your Spark every month there, hold it there, but you're going to have to move it if you're going to want to interact with many of these Web3 dApps. Now, BitTrue and Uphold have stated they are integrating with Flare Finance. I don't know exactly what that means. I don't know if they'll provide the same functionality that and usability that Bifrost will, but just keep that in mind that to really maximize it, you're going to need a Web3 wallet like Bifrost.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I got another one that I like. So from Burrtown Music Group, he says, "Do you feel as though there should be less tribalism with Flare Network combining chains like XRP, Litecoin, and Doge?" Um, so yeah, I mean, basically what we're gonna have people that are interested in kind of working together, and hopefully, those voices are the ones that are gonna make it to the forefront. It's just gonna kind of be like, where is the popular opinion with on that? And that's gonna be like, who's loudest about it. That's gonna be who, you see as either tribalistic or not. Hopefully, I think most people that are interested in learning about Flare are not particularly maximalist in any ways. So I'm hopeful that we're gonna have like a nice little melting pot between different communities. And it's like when the Flare network integrates with another blockchain, it doesn't require anything of that blockchain and also doesn't take anything away. You're just simply minting that value onto the Flare network. So, we'll get people that are actually interested in participating in Flare and hopefully, participating in governance and things like that. So I think it's a good setup to kind of give us a melting pot here.
Yep. And people's opinions can change. Like somebody who maybe was a maximalist changes and they're not a maximalist anymore. So that's okay too. Not everyone's opinion has to be static forever. It can evolve as the market and industry evolves. Your opinion's allowed to evolve too. So you don't want to be stuck in just, this is my opinion. This is what it is. XRP to the moon. greatest digital asset ever. Nothing will ever compete with it. No, because there's other things that will surround it that will be beneficial and are investable, like Flare Finance, Trustline, Flare Network in general, with Spark, that are able to make you yield that'll go beyond capital appreciation. So now you're able to earn money, earn value, earn yield. If the market's going up, it's going down, it's going sideways, it doesn't matter. You'll also be able to hedge risk and other opportunities. You'll have financial products that only the elite typically have. So that's why it's going to be like a whole new world's coming to us. So what was in 2018 doesn't necessarily apply now. I don't think the world is XRP, world reserve currency. All the central banks are going to use it. We're going to $2,000 tomorrow. You know, that is a possibility long term, but I think in the short term, it's more likely that we profit and build wealth in this way from DeFi and regulated DeFi, or I guess what we'll call DeFi 2.0 soon. I feel like that's going to be the next term we'll hear when KYC AML comes in. And that's where you'll build up wealth. And then when that capital appreciation comes, you'll have more wealth to appreciate.
Yep, absolutely. And we're approaching here 50 minutes, Mickey. Do you want to maybe get
Yeah.
into Panther Protocol shortly and then we can call it a day?
Yep. Yeah. Let's just touch on Panther and we'll call it a day. We're trying to keep the live streams under an hour because we're going to do more of them. So we just don't want to go too long with them.
Yeah.
Yep. So
You
you're
wanna
the
start?
expert. Patty is
Okay.
the expert on Panther Protocol. He's been researching this. Just let everyone know. Patty and I found this long before it was announced, and he's been researching this. So I'll let you take it away. You did a great video on it yesterday. And if you haven't seen the video that Patty made yesterday, I encourage you to watch it. It was excellent. So take it away.
I appreciate that. You definitely pointed me in the
Well,
right direction with Flair following them on Twitter. So,
so
yeah.
what is Panther Protocol? Like what makes it unique? And why is it beneficial for the DeFi ecosystem in general and especially institutions?
Yeah. So let's just start with what it is. It's basically bringing privacy to DeFi transactions and transactions over the blockchain. Blockchains are pseudo anonymous, which means there's not a name attached to your address, but given enough information and time, you could probably infer what address belongs to what person. And then obviously that's asymmetric outcome there because of the fact that the people that have like the money, time, manpower to do that are going to be institutions and governments for the most part. So it puts retail at an unfair advantage and also puts smaller players, smaller institutions and stuff at an disadvantage as well. So what they're doing is they're introducing this thing called zero knowledge proofs that allow for selective disclosure of KYC and AML information. So basically it'll be private transactions until you start using a network that requires you to do some KYC, and then you can either choose to do that or not. They kind of taken this middle ground approach where obviously we're not going to be able to have every single transaction be private. I think governments are just too big and powerful at this point for that ever to fly. So they're allowing you to at least hide your transactions without anybody knowing. But then when you go to those different products and use them, you may have to reveal something about yourself, but you can be in control of that, which I think is great. So it's kind of bringing they did their CEO or co or head founder is Oliver Gale, and he describes it as sovereign choice. So it's up to the individual to decide if they want to participate in something and receive its benefits or not, based on what kind of criteria is required for them to do there. And then
Uh,
also, yeah, go ahead.
I was going to ask you, so who is Oliver Gale and who is this company that is building Panther Protocol? What else have they been involved in that's been really big?
Yeah. So the founder and then co-founder of Panther Protocol are very interesting. So Oliver Gale, he is the founder of a company called Bitt, and they were the company that was behind the Sand Dollar CBDC project in the Bahamas. He's been around for a long time working with governments and has a lot of experience in the blockchain space. and is now moving into this privacy and DeFi. And another thing to note is Panther Protocol is multi-chain, and they're targeting all the big DeFi networks. So they're targeting Ethereum, Flare, Cosmos, Solana, Avalanche, Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, all of those. So it's a big project, and they're also going to be featuring, I believe it comes out in Q1 2022, is an interchain private layer one DEX. So you'll be able to swap between different Z assets to get on other networks. So, like, let's say you have Z assets, is what they're going to call these assets that now have privacy enabled. And so, let's say you have Z Ethereum and you want to move over to Flare Network, they'll have an interchain DEX that you can go through in order to get onto the Flare network. So, I think that's very powerful as well. And you can keep that like transactions private. So, you don't need to go to an exchange or anything to do that. And additionally, one of the big statements he made in an interview is that the more liquidity that they have in their like privacy pools, essentially, the more privacy is going to be around the transactions. And that's because if you have more people coming in and out of it, it's going to be harder to tell who the person was when they entered and exited, and keeping track of those transactions, because it creates a dark pool. So it kind of mixes everything up and hides who is who. And then the other co-founder, also chief scientist, is Anish Mohammed, and he's been writing about cryptography since the beginning of this century, and has been advisor to many projects. He was one of the people that or whatever, like looked over the original Ethereum paper. And he also was a 5-year advisor to the Ripple team from 2013 to 2018. So they've got some real heavy hitters behind this project. You can also see on here that they have a ton of people working, and they also are looking to hire, I think, at least 3 more people at this point. So they're kind of full board. And they also have a world renowned game theorist that's on the team in the help of mechanism design and implementing game theory. So I'm really excited about this one. Privacy is definitely needed for retail and institutions. So, right now, like let's say you come up with a great DeFi strategy on Ethereum. Um, you could basically have that stolen from you if somebody can infer who you are eventually, and then start front running the transactions you were originally doing. So this can hide people who are doing specific things on the blockchain as like a strategy for earning yield and moving their assets around. So you can see how that'll be helpful to like investment funds or CFI providers. Additionally, like if you're moving your client's money around as some kind of institution, well, your client probably wants a certain level of privacy in that. So another perfect use case there. And the market for this is as big as DeFi can get, because if anybody that's using DeFi has value in there, they need privacy, then it can fill that role. So I think the market's pretty large. It's not niche. It's basically everything that's going on blockchains.
Exactly. And this is regulated DeFi with privacy too.
Yes,
So
yeah.
this is like the holy grail. When you could bring no, it's true. It's privacy with, you know, regulated KYC AML. That's the holy grail. That's what institutions want. And they don't have to be responsible for keeping track of all the data and custodying it. They just keep track of their customers. That's the holy grail. That's where this is going to. So all those, like, remember private enterprise R3 used to be like, oh, it's all about privacy, all about privacy. Goes to show innovation overcomes those things. And now we're seeing zero knowledge proofs. Things like this are going to be huge in the future DeFi world that we're headed. And DeFi is going to encompass tokenization, real estate, NFTs. It's going to bring in a whole new, it could get so big you don't even know. It's going to swallow the financial system at some point. It's just going to take a little time to get there. But these are ways to involve the regulated entities like hedge funds, who will come first, your crypto custodians. And I just wanted everyone to know, I posted a poll in our Patreon group, and I asked, how many crypto custodians do you think there are in the world right now? And majority of people said under 10. There are 114 institutional crypto custodians right now. And most of those came in the last 8 to 12 months. So that just puts some perspective on where the market's going and what's being built behind the scenes. in the preparation for the merging of CFI and BFI.
Hey, and where are those crypto custodians not popping up primarily?
Oh, and they're not popping up in the US
Yeah,
primarily because of the
exactly.
lack of regulatory clarity. So what's happening is they're coming outside the US. So you're not hearing about them in these stupid crypto media headlines and these articles and all these other things you see. Be careful, because that paints a picture and a perspective for you to see the market. But once you peel back and you see what's really going on, there's a lot more there. So be careful of headlines and just like crypto media. So that's why we at the DeFi standard here try to go a couple layers deep to try to get the real picture of what's really going on and where we're headed. And it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
So I think on that note, Patty, I think we're going to wrap it unless
Yeah,
there's
let
anything
me
else you wanted to say.
yeah, I just want to drop a couple
Go
PSAs
ahead.
before we go out.
Sure.
So yeah, we confirmed the Bifrost wallet will be available by launch, so don't have any fear that you won't be able to use it. The countdown they have on their website is just the last possible day it could go live, which is going to be dependent on when the Flare network launches. So it will be there day one from what Toho Labs is saying. Additionally, all you need to do right now is, if you have not claimed your Spark, do that by the 11th. I wouldn't even wait till the 11th. I would do it on the 10th, just in case there's some weird timing with where you live in the world. Additionally, if you want to change the pointer of where your Spark tokens are going to be delivered, you can do that by following the same process you did to claim it the first time, and you just change the Ethereum address. Also, if you have multiple self-custodial wallets and you want all of your Spark to go to the same place, you can make the Ethereum address the same for each message key on all your XRP accounts. So those are important things. And then eventually, if you decide to import your seed phrase to Bifrost, it's going to need to be the one that is associated with the Ethereum address that was used in the message key, and it has to be a 12 or 24 word recovery phrase. So hopefully that should cover everything. You don't need to know how to do the importing yet. You don't need to know how to hook up your Ledger Nano to MetaMask if you're going to go that route. Those are all things that can be found out before launch. Just focus on making sure your Spark claim is correct right now. But aside from that, I think it was a great stream. There were a lot of good topics today, and it was nice getting to chat with everybody on a Saturday morning. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and me and Mickey will be back shortly. So take care, Mickey. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yes, everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, enjoy your weekend. And Patty and I are out.
Yeah. See ya.